Have you ever wondered why a child might push away a loving, stable parent and instead cling to one who is manipulative or even emotionally harmful? It's a heartbreaking and confusing situation for everyone involved. But here's the thing. It's rarely a conscious choice made by the child. More often, it's the result of intense psychological pressure, emotional dependency, and deep-seated fear. Today, we're going to explore this strange and powerful pull that can completely distort a child's perception of their parents and explain why their loyalty might not be what it seems. Let's start with the power of control and proximity. The parent who manages the child's day-to-day life, their schedule, their meals, their social activities, wields enormous influence. They control the narrative. This creates a powerful dynamic where the child's reality is shaped by one person's perspective. When that parent is manipulative, the child learns to align with them simply to survive and keep the peace. It becomes easier to adopt the controlling parent's views than to face constant conflict or disapproval. Over time, this constant reinforcement can paint the other, healthier parent as distant, uncaring, or even dangerous, regardless of how loving they actually are. The physical and emotional closeness to the manipulative parent becomes a gravitational force, pulling the child into their orbit and making it incredibly difficult to see the truth. Let me share a few common scenarios to illustrate how this happens. Imagine the parent who becomes the enemy through a campaign of subtle hints and whispered concerns. The manipulating parent might say things like, "I'm just worried about you when you're with your dad," or, "Your mom seemed really stressed last time. Maybe it's best you stay with me." They might stage situations to make the other parent look bad, creating a false narrative that the child begins to believe. The child isn't rejecting the parent they know. They're rejecting a fictional character created for them. Then there's the case of loyalty through fear. Some children stick close to a volatile or unpredictable parent not out of love, but as a survival tactic. They learn that their compliance is the only way to avoid an outburst or emotional storm. Their loyalty is a shield. They become hypervigilant, constantly trying to manage the parent's moods. In this environment, the calmer, more stable parent can seem boring or distant by comparison, because they don't provide the same intense, albeit negative, emotional feedback. And finally, consider the parent who becomes a myth. This happens when a child is fed a steady diet of stories, exaggerations, and second-hand emotional baggage about the other parent. The rejected parent is no longer a real person with memories attached to them. Instead, they become a distorted figure, a villain assembled from fragments of someone else's anger and pain. The child's perception is built entirely on hearsay, and they have no real-life experiences to counter the negative image being painted for them. So what are the psychological forces at play that make this happen? Several powerful mechanisms can make the alienating parent feel like the right or safe choice. One of the most common is emotional enmeshment. This is where the child's emotional state becomes completely entangled with the parent's. The child feels responsible for the parent's happiness and sadness. If the parent is upset, the child feels it's their job to fix it. This creates an intense, unhealthy bond that the child mistakes for love and closeness. Another tactic is triangulation. The alienating parent places the child in the middle of the parental conflict, using them as a messenger, a spy, or a confidant. The child is forced to carry adult burdens and secrets, which strengthens their alliance with the parent who is confiding in them. This inappropriate sharing of information makes the child feel special and needed, solidifying their loyalty. We also see role reversal, where the child is forced to become the parent's emotional caretaker. They might have to listen to the parent's relationship problems or provide the comfort and validation that the parent should be giving them. This dynamic flips the natural order of a parent-child relationship and creates a deep sense of dependency. The child feels they cannot leave because the parent needs them. All these forces work together to override a child's natural instincts and their ability to see the situation clearly. Their world becomes a confusing web of loyalty tests and emotional manipulation. Now, Let's talk about why the healthy parent often gets rejected in these situations. It seems counterintuitive, right? A healthy parent typically offers structure, consistency, and clear boundaries. They provide a calm and predictable environment. But for a child who has grown up in chaos and emotional drama, this calm can feel strange. It can even feel uncomfortable or boring. The manipulative parent's world, with all its emotional highs and lows, can feel more normal simply because it's familiar. The intense emotional swings, the drama, the constant need for reassurance, this can be mistaken for passionate love and deep connection. In contrast, the stable parent who doesn't engage in drama can appear cold, uninterested, or detached. They aren't feeding the cycle of chaos, and to a child accustomed to that chaos, their stability can be misinterpreted as a lack of love. It is a tragic paradox. The very qualities that make a parent healthy are the ones that can lead to their rejection by a manipulated child. The long-term effects of this kind of alienation are profound and can leave deep scars that last well into adulthood. Many adults who experience this as children struggle with a confused sense of identity. They don't know who they are outside of the role they were forced to play for the manipulative parent. They often carry a heavy burden of guilt and feel torn by divided loyalties even years later. They might feel guilty for rejecting one parent or for not being able to save the other. This experience almost always leads to estrangement from the rejected parent, a relationship that can be incredibly difficult to repair. The lost years and broken trust create a huge gulf that takes immense effort from both sides to bridge. Furthermore, growing up in such a dysfunctional dynamic makes it very hard to form healthy, secure relationships later in life. These individuals may struggle with trust, have difficulty setting boundaries, or find themselves drawn to partners who replicate the chaotic patterns of their childhood. The emotional blueprint they were given was flawed, and rewriting it is a long and challenging journey. It's crucial to understand that the choices these children make are not really choices at all. They are survival strategies. A child's primary drive is to seek safety, approval, and emotional stability. Even if the source of that stability is dysfunctional, they will align with whichever parent seems to offer the best chance of survival in their immediate environment. They might choose the manipulative parent because that's where the power lies, or because pleasing that parent is the only way to find a moment of peace. These coping mechanisms, developed in childhood to navigate an impossible situation, often follow them into adulthood. It's usually only as adults that they can begin to look back and understand the real motivations behind their childhood actions. With distance and maturity, they may finally see the pressure, the fear, and the manipulation for what it was. This realization is often the first step toward healing, toward reclaiming their own identity, and perhaps toward rebuilding the relationship with the parent they were forced to reject. In the end, it is vital for everyone, especially the rejected parent, to recognize that the child's behavior is rarely about a lack of love. It's about being caught in an invisible web of psychological control. It is a testament to the power of fear and the incredible lengths a child will go to in order to feel safe. Understanding these dynamics doesn't make the pain go away, but it can offer a new perspective. It reframes the situation not as a personal rejection, but as a tragic consequence of manipulation. And with that understanding comes the possibility of compassion, patience, and eventually, healing. Thank you so much for watching. If this topic resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content on understanding complex family dynamics. Take care.